Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first review I'm going to do. Uh, I was planning on making this just on Daniel Block, but I decided to make a completely separate channel. Um, just watched Raw. Today is July 16th. This is since I'm doing this now, this is going to be a weekly thing for Raw and SmackDown, possibly pay-per-views. I'm going to have to start watching every Raw, so my lifespan's going to decrease by a few years because this show was pretty fucking boring besides two matches. We'll get to that in a second. So the opening segment was Paul Heyman and Kurt Angle. Basically, Kurt Angle threatened to strip Brock Lesnar United States Universal title. Paul Heyman convinced him to do otherwise, and then he booked a match saying basically Lesnar has to defend his Universal title at SummerSlam. Then a bunch of guys came out. Heel Lesnar, people are really getting on his case, and I'm surprised it's actually working very well. That doesn't mean the person who goes against him at SummerSlam is going to be cheered because, well, we'll get to that in a second. So basically, Elias, Rollins, McIntyre, Balor, some other guys come out. Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley all come out. And Elias and Rollins, Balor and McIntyre, they're all very over, especially Rollins. But Elias got a really good pop for a heel. And I think generally he's one of the most entertaining superstars on the roster. I really do enjoy his singing gimmick. Another thing that I caught during this segment was Roman said, "I don't want to fight Brock Lesnar," and then proceed to get booked in a match that would be a number one contender spot if he would win. So I don't know how this makes sense to me. He says he doesn't want Brock Lesnar, but just wanted to fight, and then got booked in a match that could possibly put him up against Brock Lesnar. Doesn't make sense to me. So, Kurt Angle books a match. Two matches. Two triple threats for the night. He would have Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, and Drew McIntyre in one. And then in the other, you have Bobby Lashley, Elias, and Seth Rollins. So, in the first triple threat, we have, which opened the show, opened the first match of the show, and then the other one main evented McIntyre, Roman Reigns, and Finn Balor. Few things I caught. When Balor did his dive, he landed. It's like McIntyre and Roman try not to catch him, but just make sure their shoulders went into his back. He landed on both their shoulders and then landed flat back on the floor. So I found that to be very entertaining. Michael Cole's commentary is. He mentioned a ladder for some reason. I don't remember what the reason was, but he said ladder and then corrected himself. So, I mean, Michael Cole has never been known as the most fluent commentator there is. And then McIntyre's dive was a thing of beauty, honestly. The guy who's like 6'5", I think Michael Cole mentioned 6'5", 265 or something like that, doing a flip over the top rope is another reason why he's going to be a future world champion this time, actually, instead of when they said that in 2009. Roman Reigns won with a spear to Balor, I believe, pinned Balor to protect McIntyre. So, I mean, fine with that, but Balor is really over, and Vince McMahon saying that he's not over is honestly comical. Finn Balor is very over with the crowd right now, and anyone that says otherwise is brain dead. Roman Reigns won the match, and I figured he would. But I didn't get angry until later on, which we'll get to. But yeah, I expected Roman to win. I figured McIntyre wasn't, and I wouldn't be surprised if Balor won, but when Roman Reigns won, I was not shocked. Um, then we have Bobby Roode versus Ziggler. Ziggler cut a promo talking about his win against Seth Rollins. Extreme Rules was bragging about how he beat Rollins 5 times in one match. Bobby Roode comes out, challenges him to a match. It was every match you've seen between the two, and they've had their fair share of matches against each other. Ziggler won after a super kick. I mean, really nothing too special here. Um, Bobby Roode should be a heel. The fact that he's a face is it doesn't make sense to me. Really doesn't. He's so much better as a heel, and they just make him another smiling baby face on the roster. It's just another way of WWE cutting everyone's balls off and making them just another guy on the roster. Up next was a women's tag match. Literally the only thing I've written down, like I'm reading from a notepad right now. I actually took notes on the show, so I don't go in blind. Um, the only thing I wrote, I have one bullet point, and it was just the word shit. Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox went against Sasha Banks and Bayley. Basically, there was a stipulation where, you know what? I don't even remember what it was because it was not that important. This is how boring the feud is between Bayley and Sasha Banks. All they had to do, right, was just make a feud where Sasha Banks was a heel because she beat up Bayley. I'm sorry, Bayley beat up Sasha Banks. Because turning Bayley heel would have been fine, because as a babyface, she has nothing, because she's boring and one dimensional. Sasha Banks is just a person with weird glasses that are outdated. Um, this feud could have been great, because these two had a pretty two really good matches back in NXT. I do think they're slightly overrated, but I do enjoy them. I think they're very good. I like their Iron Woman match mostly. Um, all they had to do was turn one person heel, and it's really simple. Turn one person heel, have them have a blood feud. This culminated at Elimination Chamber. That's when the first real thing happened. And then they both look like goofs anyway because they both lost. Then you have Extreme. Oh, shit, what was it? It was like a Raw for a couple weeks before an event. I don't know which one. But Bayley beat up Sasha Banks, and I was like, thank God, finally, she's a heel. But no, she's just a cookie cutter face. And they're basically trying to book it like a Daniel Bryan Kane, like, anger management thing from 2013-ish. Or 2012-ish. Where they have to go through classes, and it wasn't funny or entertaining. They brought back Dr. Shelby, which was pretty cool, actually, but they should have waited for the Team Hell No reunion that was only a couple weeks later. Actually, I think the week of. All they had to do was put them in a blood feud where one's heel, one's face, and they hate each other and beat each other up. It's really that simple. I know it sounds boring and one-dimensional, but it's way better than the putrid shit that's spewing out of WWE's pie holes right about now. You know, only WWE can find a way to make this feud so boring and uninteresting, and no one cares about it. And I'm not shocked. I mean, it's WWE. Let's get to this. B Team versus Ascension. Where do I start? I was confused. B Team comes out, talking about how they're gonna have a match. The match started during the commercial break, so the short match was even shorter. First of all, then I thought to myself, "Oh, B Team is playing the babyface. Okay, I mean, it doesn't really make sense because they're putting two heel teams together, but I guess I can see them. I mean, there's a lot of people in the crowd cheering them. I mean, there's a lot of B Team signs, which was a pleasant surprise. I actually like the B Team too. I think they're pretty funny. So I'm like, oh, B Team's the babyface because they're on the babyface side of the ring during a tag match. The left side's the babyface side, right is the heel side. Okay, I can get behind that. I mean, they kind of have to because it's Ascension. And then Victor of the Ascension gets a hot tag and then starts going on a spree of clotheslines and all that. How the fuck does that make sense? Someone explain this to me, right? If okay, the B Team is obviously more over than the Ascension. Okay. You have them on the left side of the ring where the baby faces always are. But then they're actually playing the heels. I mean, it's just simple stuff like this that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. There's a reason why this show is so fucking terrible. No one there's really no reason why people should be watching this show in the first place. I mean, honestly. So you have this shit where the B team is against the Ascension. First of all, the fact that this is a match is astounding to me. But okay, it could work. I guess if two things happen: the right team goes over, and it's not too long. Luckily, it wasn't too long, but it was way too damn short. But anyway, B team is playing the babyface, or so I thought at the beginning, and then the Ascension plays babyface, and after that, I lost all hope. B team won with their finisher that no one knows its name. Don't even know how to explain what even happened. Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Ronda Rousey segment. Basically, Alexa Bliss comes out. She's explaining how she's beat everyone on the roster, which honestly isn't too far off. She's beaten nearly everyone because she's been on top for so long. Even I'm getting sick of Alexa Bliss. They harass Ronda Rousey, saying that she's not actually a person on the roster, how she's actually suspended, which doesn't stop Ronda Rousey from coming out in the first place. So she comes out looking mighty retarded, if you ask me. She has a ponytail. Her sideburns and stuff are back, but the crown, like right down the middle of her head, is braided sideways. It was one of the most retarded things I've ever seen in my life. Ronda Rousey comes out through the crowd. Mickie James and Alexa Bliss try splitting towards the entrance ramp. Somehow, instead of just running about 20 feet and escaping, they got cut off by someone who had to go all the way around the fucking crowd, maybe 60, 70 feet, because you can't just leave. They see her coming down, they're like, oh, let's stand here in the ring and stare at her, and then slowly leave, because we're so terrified. Ronda Rousey cuts him off, chases him down, catches Mickie James, tries to put her in the armbar, referees pull off. And then referees are taking Mickie James and Alexa Bliss up to the entrance ramp, and this really confused me. Ronda Rousey jumps on them, and then everyone, dies. Like, they were just laying there on their backs. Like, she gets a head of steam, jumps on them, not even, from, the ring apron or the turnbuckle or inside the ring. Going up the entrance ramp, so uphill, and Alexa Bliss and Mickie James were basically dead. How this makes sense is beyond even comprehension at this point. So they basically died. Speaking of dead, Ronda Rousey brings Alexa Bliss in the ring and gives her the stiff. Ronda Rousey's pretty big, and Alexa Bliss is really small. Gives her the biggest hip toss of all time. I thought Alexa Bliss was probably dead. Tries putting her in the armbar. Referees pull off. Kurt Angle, Constable Corbin come out. Angle's like, oh yeah, we suspended you, you dumb bitch. Well, the fact that you came back, it doesn't make sense. We're gonna tack another week on. Constable Corbin's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. She, came back even though she's been suspended. Even though she's suspended, she keeps showing up anyway. Which, whatever. Trying to make sense of this is impossible. Constable Corbin tries finding his phone so he calls Stephanie. Couldn't wait to hear Stephanie's voice, but he couldn't find his phone. Kurt Angle actually had it. Whatever. Books a match. Ronda Rousey, Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. Expect Ronda Rousey to win. She should. Authors of Pain versus Titus Worldwide. Really not much to compliment about this match. There wasn't much that happened. It was a glorified squash, except for an enziguri and a dropkick by Apollo. Wow. The crowd was pretty quiet, and the reasoning that Corey Graves said for them being so quiet was basically, the crowd is in shocked silence over this beatdown. They're and scared by the AOP. Doesn't make sense to me that the fact that he would say that. This entire show made no sense except for like a few tidbits. Shocked silence was their excuse for it being the quietest. This crowd was dead for about 70% of the show, barring the two triple threats. And not even the last one was kind of quiet until midway through. We'll get to that. Then we had Ember Moon versus Sarah Logan. And another nothing match. There was a lot of those on the card. Oh, I forgot to mention. I forgot to write it down. Mojo Rawley won against Tyler Breeze about halfway through the show. I thought it was just gonna be a squash match. It wasn't really a squash. It was quick, but Tyler Breeze got a lot of offense in, surprisingly. Mojo Rawley hits him with a pounce, like Marcus Corvon from ECW's finisher, and then does like a lights out, he said. He punched him in the face, like a running punch. And then hit him with an Alabama slam, and then won. So, who gives a shit? Sarah Logan versus Ember Moon. Another weird, awkward match. Sarah Logan's pretty green. Ember Moon's great, and her entrance is really cool. I actually really like it. It's got like a dark black and orange type thing to it. Color scheme going on. So, I actually really like it. As a match, clunky, boring. I mean, really, that's all I can say. Main event comes around. Put my notepad away. I don't need it anymore. Right on the ground. Dirtbag. What we got was, Elias comes out, sings about Buffalo, how he hates it. Elias is really over. People cheer him, and they boo him when he shits on their city. So they really can't make up mind what they think about him. I think he's awesome, honestly. What else? So Seth Rollins comes out. Bobby Lashley comes out. This match was good. It started picking up towards the end. It was pretty quiet throughout, though. Strange how people just didn't really care about the match. I mean, like, it was pretty quiet beginning towards the middle. I mean, there was a few big high spots. I mean, the superplex into the Falcon Arrows, honestly, I never really appreciated it till now. It's honestly one of my favorite moves, even though it's two moves. But, I mean, Seth Rollins is such a great athlete and such a great wrestler. It's a shame that he has to get shafted again. Elias looked really good, too. I mean, everyone looked really good. Like, you know, they played their rules. Bobby Lashley played the really strong, monstrous guy who people, Elias and Seth Rollins were trying to keep down for most of the time. Seth Rollins played that plucky baby face who gets a lot of near falls, can't get the win, and then Elias played that like scavenger, like trying to get quick pinfalls and throwing people out just to pin others. I mean, they all played the rules really well. Elias looked really good. They actually made him look really well, and especially the part where he throws Bobby Lashley into the post, and Seth Rollins goes for a suicide dive, and Elias just basically just swats him out of the air. Not really swats him, but kind of just... I don't know how to explain it. Seth Rollins jumps out, and Elias just kind of like pushes him into the ground, and then goes back over and throws Bobby Lashley into the other post, which was kind of awkward because I thought he was going to throw him into the steel steps, and a lot of other people did, and it looked like he was going to, and then he just kind of like placed his head on the steel post. Like, it was weird. Well, it's not steel anymore, it's LED, whatever. This match was pretty good. At the end it really started to pick up. Seth Rollins hits a stomp on Elias. Bobby Lashley breaks it up. Eventually, Seth Rollins recovers, goes for a stomp on Bobby Lashley. Elias pulls him out of the ring, goes back in, and takes a spear from Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's spears don't make a lot of contact, but I like them because he does like a weird flip. He does a spear but lands on his back. He does like a somersault. He spears and then kind of flips. I think it looks really cool. It doesn't look like it hurts, but it looks cool. So I guess it makes up for it semi. Bobby Lashley wins. So we're getting a rematch from Extreme Rules. We're getting Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley. When I saw Bobby Lashley win, I was less than thrilled. I'm like, great. So now Roman Reigns is going to get his win back. Is basically what we're getting at here. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to pull in the shock, like Bobby Lashley gets another win on Roman Reigns, but I doubt that will happen. This is another Roman Reigns coronation in the making. He's going to get his win back on Bobby Lashley, beat Lesnar at SummerSlam, and probably defend his title against Bobby Lashley in the grudge match. Less than thrilled when I saw that. WWE has to book these best of 3 matches all the time. Can't just let a guy get the win. Because I knew this shit was going to happen. I should have known better. I wanted Seth Rollins to win. I was really, really hoping it would. It doesn't really make sense for him to go against Brock. I mean, who would buy him beating Brock Lesnar if he just lost to Dolph Ziggler twice? But hey, whatever. What else? I mean, really, it doesn't. I shouldn't have been surprised. I mean, really, what else is gonna happen? Roman Reigns is gonna win against Brock Lesnar, and Bobby Lashley first and Brock Lesnar. This show overall, I mean, the first match was really, really, really good. I actually enjoyed it. Probably give it like an A- or so. I think it was really enjoyable. Other than that, the show, besides like the main event, was so boring. Just nothing happens. Nothing happens in the show. If you're gonna watch a show, there's 2 things to watch. That's Paul Heyman run, and then the other 2 matches, like the main event and the opening match. That's it. Everything else is so skippable. You didn't miss anything. There was no storytelling that was good in this show. Every match meant nothing. You had a bunch of squash matches. You had tag matches that don't mean anything. You had a bunch of clunky matches that don't mean anything. Ember Moon versus Sarah Logan, clunky, boring. Doesn't even need it. Doesn't even need it on the show. Okay? Then you have the tag match that was Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox. That's all you need to know because they're shit. They've mishandled the Bayley-Sasha Banks feud completely, which isn't a shocker. Who would be surprised there? Then you have Tyler Breeze get put in a nothing match against Mojo Rawley that no one cared about either. Then you have AOP Titus Worldwide match that literally no one cared about because there was no sound in the crowd at all. No one even made a sound. It was deathly quiet. So quiet that they had to even Corey Graves had to mention it. Trying to give an excuse. Just shock silence. Because WWE brought up the Authors of Pain to put him in a Money in the Bank tag match. That didn't happen. So now they're just sitting ducks on the main roster. Same with the Revival. Fuck. Speak English. Asshole. Bunch of talking segments. Bunch of interview segments. WWE does this thing now where they have a guy just talk to the camera backstage, and it reminds me of like TNA from like the late 2000s or so. As for the show, the rest of the show was terrible. That's all you know. What are you gonna say about the show, Nathan?
What show?
Raw.
I didn't watch it, but who's that guy that was new to AA today? He announced his name to everybody.
What?
He announced his name to everybody. I said hi.
Oh, Elias.
Yeah, hi, Elias.
Elias is awesome because he plays guitar. Meow, meow. He's a walk star. But yeah, show terrible. The opening segment was fine for what it was. I mean, they brought back the whole like, oh, everyone comes out demanding a match type thing, like it's fucking Teddy Long and SmackDown in 2010. Except there was no tag match; it was 2 triple threats, which I guess is better. Terrible show. Besides 2 matches, other than that, totally skippable. Don't even bother watching. you're gonna watch a replay, watch the 2 matches, and that is it. First Raw that I've watched completely, and for the first time in a couple years, not counting the Raws at the WrestleManias that I watch every year. I do keep up with wrestling, WWE. I read the rumors, I read Bleacher Report grades, What Culture. I keep up with it. I just don't watch it because why would I waste 3 hours on a show that is this fucking lackluster and boring? I mean, there's really most of the show meant nothing, and it's a shame because you had 2 really good matches. No storytelling, and if it was storytelling, it's bad storytelling. Matches don't mean anything. It's a waste of time. So it's great to be back and watching WWE and bitching about it. Match was bad. Matches were bad. Bobby Roode and Ziggler didn't mean anything. There's just a lot of nothing matches, and that's just there are a lot. It's a shame when 80% of the show is filler for 2 matches. It feels like they just wrote this show the night of, 2 hours before the show. Oh fuck, Raw's tonight. That's just what it felt like to me. So that'd be the first review that I do. Unfortunately, that means I have to review SmackDown tomorrow. So 2 days in a row of this putrid shit. SmackDown should be better up. Except they have that fucking retard Road Dogg booking. Wins don't matter. Okay. Wins don't matter. Because wins don't matter. It's just how they connect to the crowd. If you would have AJ Styles go out there and lose every single match, because remember, wins and losses don't matter. Have him lose every match, because who cares, right? You'd expect him to get over. People would still cheer him. Finn Balor at one point started kind of dwindling in, I guess, his crowd reactions because he fucking lost clean to Kane on Raw, and everyone went apeshit over it. But he's not over. Anyway, yeah, SmackDown tomorrow. Fucking so excited. Can't wait to watch SmackDown. Boy, oh boy. Excited for Rusev Day, though. I love me some Rusev Day. I've always liked Rusev, especially when he got that comedy shtick going with Aiden English. I actually really liked it. So yeah, that was Raw. Terrible. Watch the opening and closing matches. That's it. I'm out of here.